All right, folks, happy Friday afternoon. One game in the books already, 7 o'clock games, getting ready to kick off here in just a little bit. But we do have some opening lines for Saturday's MLB action. But before we go ahead into those lines and leans, I just want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to my headline sponsor for today's program, Jimmy and the boys from GhostPicksATS.com. And if you like making money on sports, there's no reason why you shouldn't check out one or more of their very affordable, money-making, pocket-busting packages. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com, GhostPicksATS.com. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our Saturday slate of baseball games and personal leans, beginning with Orioles Twins. That's 210 Minnesota. Slight fade of the Twins in the early going here. Minnesota opened $1.50 down to $1.45. Totals at 8.5. You got Gossman for the Baltimore Orioles, Gibson for Minnesota. The Twins are 3-1 in their head-to-head matchups with the Orioles. They're also taking on a Baltimore squad who's a pitiful 3-14 in their games at the current money line odds. Now, total-wise, we're looking at just 0-4 to the over in these teams. 4 head-to-head matchups with each other as well. So all that said, I'm going to lean toward Minnesota and the under 8.5. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Reds-Cubs, 220 Windy City. A little fade of Chicago in the early going here. The Cubbies open $1.50 down to $1.45. No total as of yet. We got Harvey for Cincinnati, Chatwood for Chicago. The Cubs are 25-12 in their games as the official home favorite. The Reds are just 9-16, taking on teams allowing less than 4 runs per contest. Now, scoring-wise, Chatwood starts did go 9-6 to the over. That said, though, I've got no posted total, so we're not going to make a blind lean there. What I will do is lean toward the Cubbies, winning this one outright for some moneyline cash. Next game, Phillies-Pirates, 4:05 Steel City, and the Pirates are getting faded in the early rounds of betting here. Pittsburgh opened $1.35 down to $1.05. Totals at 8 flat. 69% of the betting public is leaning toward Philadelphia. And at the moment, we are looking at Jake Arrieta for the Fightins, Jameson Taillon for the Buccos. And speaking of the Pirates, they've really struggled in their contest with winning ball clubs. They posted a record of just 5-23 versus teams over 500. They're also taking on a Philly squad who's winning just about 70% of their ball games in their second game without a day off. Now, total-wise, Arrieta starts did go 10-6 to the over so far on the year. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Fightins, catching the plus money, and the over 8 flat. Next game, Cardinals-Giants, 4:05 San Francisco. The Cards are taking a good amount of early money here, open $1.05 up to $1.15. Totals at 8 flat. 75% of the current bettors are still leaning St. Louis. And at the moment, we got Carlos Martinez for the Cardinals, Jeff Samardzija for the Giants. The Giants are just 2-6 in their Jeff Samardzija starts. They're also taking on a Cardinal squad who's won 3 out of their last 4 ball games. Now, total-wise, Jeff Samardzija starts did go 7-1 to the over in his last 8 outings. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Cards and the over 8 flat. Next game, Yankees-Blue Jays, 4:07 Toronto. And no surprises here as the Yankees are taking most of the early money here. They open $1.80 up to the $2 favorites. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. 69% are currently leaning New York. And at the moment, we've got Severino for the Yanks, Jay Hott for the Jays. Toronto's won just 3 of 10 head-to-head matchups with New York. They're also taking on a Yankee squad who's a dominant 16-2 in their games, where Severino makes the start. Now, total-wise, Severino starts did go just 6-12 to the over so far in the year. So all that said and done, I'm going to take the New York Yankees run line and the under 8 flat. Next game, A's-Indians, 4:10 Cleveland. The Indians are 270, totals 8.5, 67% are leaning toward Cleveland. And at the moment, we are looking at Edwin Jackson for the Athletics, Corey Kluber for the Indians. Now, Cleveland's a remarkable 7-1 in their games at the current moneyline price. They're also taking on an Oakland squad who's just 479 in their games as the official Vegas underdog. Now, scoring-wise, Kluber starts did go 12-6 to the over so far in the year. So all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Indians run line and the over 8.5. Next game, Rangers, Tigers, 410 Detroit. The Rangers are $1.20. Totals at 9 flat. 62% are leaning toward the Rangers. And at the moment, we got Cole Hamels for the Texas Rangers. Mike Fiers for Detroit. The Tigers are 10-6 in their Mike Fiers starts. They're also taking on a Texas squad who's just 6-11 in their games, and Cole Hamels makes the start themselves. Now, total-wise, we are looking at 4-0 to the over in these teams' 4 head-to-head matchups. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Tigers, catching a little juice at home with the over 9 flat. Next game, White Sox, Astros, 410 Houston. The Astros are the $3 favorites. Total open 8.5, down to 8 flat. 70% are still leaning toward Houston, despite the deplorable money line price. And at the moment, we are looking at Jimmy Shields on the bump for Chicago. Charlie Morton slated on the hill for Houston. The Astros are a perfect 3-0 in their games at the current market price. They're also going up against a White Sox ball club who's just 6-12 in their contests, where James Shields made the start. Now, scoring-wise, Houston's gone just 7-18 to the over at home when the line was 8 flat. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Astros run line and the under 8 flat. Next game, Braves, Brewers, 410 Milwaukee. The Brewers are getting faded in the early going here. Open $1.35 down to $1.25. Totals at 9 flat. 60% are still leaning toward Atlanta. And at the moment, we got Anibal Sanchez for Atlanta, Aaron Wilkerson for Milwaukee. The Brewers are going up against an Atlanta squad who's 6-3 in their games, where Sanchez made the start. They've also done a pretty good job against winning ball clubs, going 22-14 in their games versus teams over 500. Now, total-wise, just 3 out of Sanchez's 9 starts got over the line. So all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Braves, catching a little juice with the under 9 flat. Next game, Rays Mets, 410 Tampa Bay, and no surprises here. 20-cent move toward the Rays. Tampa open $1.10 up to the $1.30 favorites. Totals at 7 flat. 68% are still leaning toward the Rays. And at the moment, we got Blake Snell for Tampa Bay, Steven Matz for New York. Now, despite the early and significant fade, this Mets squad has gone 9-7 in their games, where Steven Matz made the start. They're also taking on a Tampa squad who's winning a measly 33% of their ball games as the official road favorite. Now, total-wise, just 5 out of 16 Steven Matz starts actually got over the line. Smells like a 1-0 game to me. I'm going to lean toward the Mets in an upset at home with the under 7 flat. Next game, Rockies, Mariners, 410 Seattle. The Mariners open $1.80 up to $1.85. Total open 7.5 down to 7 flat. 63% of the public bettors are still leaning Seattle. And at the moment, we got Kyle Freeland for the Rockies, James Paxton for Seattle. Now, Seattle's gone a ridiculous 19-4 in their games as the official home favorite. They're also taking on a Colorado team who's just 41% in their second game without a day off. Now, total-wise, Kyle Freeland starts did go just 4-13 to the over, but you have to account for those absurdly high totals being posted at Coors Field. You also got to factor in Seattle's 10-5 record to the over in their games at the current total. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Mariners run line and the over 7 flat. All right, next game, Dodgers Angels, Battle of Los Angeles, 7:15 Anaheim. The Dodgers are taking a little money in the early going here. They open $1.60 up to $1.75. Totals at 9 flat. We got Stripling for the Dodgers, McGuire for the Angels. And speaking of the Angels, they're winning a pitiful 28% of their games at the current market price. They're also winning a pathetic 22% of their games as the home dog. Now, scoring-wise, the Dodgers are just 5-7 to the over in their Ross Stripling starts. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers run line and the under 9 flat. Next game, Red Sox, Royals. That is 7:15 Kansas City, and much to my surprise, we're seeing a 20-cent fade of the Sox in the early going here. They open $2.10 down to $1.90. Totals at 9 flat, and at the moment we got David Price projected for the Sox, Brad Keller on the bump for the Royals. KC's gone a pitiful 6-27 as the official home underdog. They're also taking on a Boston squad who's an impressive 22-8 in their games as the official road favorites themselves. Now, total-wise, about 70% of KC's games stayed under the line of 9 or higher. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Red Sox and the under 9 flat. All right, next game, Marlins-Nationals, 7:15 DC. The Nationals are the $3.30 favorites. Oh, my God. Totals at 7 flat. 70% are still leaning toward the Nats. And at the moment, we got Chen for Miami, Scherzer for Washington. The Nationals are a perfect 4-0 in their head-to-head matchups with the Marlins. Miami's just 38% in their games as the official road underdog. Now, total-wise, 80% of Marlins games did go over the posted total of 7 flat. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Nationals run line in the over, 7 flat. All right, next and final game for the show. Pods, D-backs, 10-10 Arizona. The Diamondbacks are $1.70. Total open 7.5 up to 8 flat. 74% are still leaning toward Arizona. And at the moment, we got Tyson Ross for San Diego, Robbie Ray for Arizona. The D-backs are 73% in their games at the current price. They're also taking on a San Diego squad who's won just 5 of 20 ball games at the current moneyline price themselves. Now, total-wise, just 6 out of Tyson Ross's 17 starts actually got over the posted total. So all that said and done, I'm going to take the Diamondbacks run line and the under 8 flat. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just have to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're hurting yourself each and every day you're not subscribed. I also want to remind you to check out my headline sponsor, Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. Jimmy and his team of young, hungry, expert consultants at Ghost Picks are the most passionate in the business. And if you thought I was good at handicapping games, these guys are amongst the best in the industry. And as always, thank you for watching today's program. I hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage.